Hey y'all. Um, about a month's time, I'm going to be trying something new, um, a new format. Uh, I'm going to try and have a back screen and things like this. Um, I'm not sure exactly what more I could do with the old gray Aspie the way I've been doing it. I think I may just go ahead and go back to the topical format and very short videos and simply say a few things and quit. Um, I'm wondering whether or not I should start tackling certain topics, not necessarily based, on high functioning autism, but rather certain things that concern me, uh, and try to put my perspective in there because I think from the viewpoint of a lot of people, my perspective is very strange and very pretty much outside the norm. I don't do well with taking sides. I do it sometimes. I am human. Um, but I have a third perspective, and I'm, since my childhood, really, I've had something like this. And I would watch people go off in one direction or another, like watching friends get angry with each other and then they don't talk to each other or they get in a fight or whatever. And I used to always want everybody to simply calm down. I wanted everybody to get along, but that's human nature. We don't always get along, and as a result of that, I often find myself being. I can't say that the people that were taking the sides were pushing me away because they weren't. I think they didn't appreciate their momentary emotional state being trivialized by me because I wanted them to quit and get along. But for the most part, people were decent toward me when I would do this. But I wanted everybody to just get along. And as a result, it made me more and more alien. I don't know. That would explain why. I mean, I've always liked science fiction as a kid, and but not just science fiction. When I was younger, I used to like a lot of stuff, Batman and all that. But it did coalesce more and more into just a basic sci-fi format. And as a result, I really got pushed or pulled either way by my own interests into the UFO field. And I'd say since about 74, 75, when the UFO incident was broadcast on television, portraying the Barney and Betty Hill abduction. And that had James Earl Jones and Estelle Parsons playing the Hills. But and that spooked, oh my, that spooked me out bad. But from about that point on, I started taking a liking to the subject matter, and I think over the years as I analyzed it, the reason was, or the reason being, is because I could somehow identify with the aliens in the popular narratives, and the same thing with sci-fi movies and stuff, TV shows. Um, I could I could agree with Mr. Spock sometimes on Star Trek. He couldn't. He had an issue with the humans flying off the handle, and I used to think, that kind of sounds like me. I mean, yeah, I flew off the handle. I have high functioning autism. Of course, I flew off the handle, but for me, it was more uncontrollable. Um, I didn't know what was wrong with me, and but when I'd see other people do it, I knew they could reason better than me because I'd seen and heard the process in them. And this alienation led me into that direction. And I have to say that as I look back on my life, and I think a lot of autistic people that are high functioning can probably identify a little bit with this. you find that a lot of your interests, and especially the ones that are kind of not mainstream, the non-mainstream ones, um, are a result of our identification with those subjects. And same thing with the music, same thing with the television. I found myself driven more and more to watch the strange stuff, the heady stuff, uh, things that were really abstract sometimes of what's going on in the world. And I I look back on my life and I think, man, I really did get drawn into a lot of stuff because of my perspective. And as a result, in the here and now, I look around at the politics and what's happening in the church world and the American culture, and I'm basically being offered Coke or Pepsi. That's what it boils down to. You either go on this side or you go on that side. You're either Republican, Democrat. You're either, I I don't do well with that. I mean, most of my life, I have not really cared about who was running things because I figured the way the system worked, usually if somebody got in and they got a second term, the other party would stack the cards in the Congress, and so the whole thing would kind of balance out because nobody could really push an agenda all the way to the finish line, and everybody was kind of forced to compromise. So I figured, as long as that's going on, I don't care. And so now I'm at a point in my life in the 21st century, 2020, which will go down as probably the most hated year in human history, even though it started out with a lot of hope. I think I feel myself being driven to try and do something more of a commentary dealing with certain subject matter and put my Aspie perspective into that instead of coming on here because there are a ton of Aspie autistic sites out there, some good ones. And at first it made me jealous to watch them. But after a while, I thought, you know what? These people, it's their calling to do this. And I still want to say a few things on this. But I think I need to get the attention so much off myself as an example. At least sometimes I feel like I need to do this. I feel like I need to say something about anything. I don't care, whatever that subject is going to be that time, and it'll probably be a bit of a longer piece of video. And I'll see what I could do for throwing special effects in or whatever, because I want to kind of dress it a little bit. I mean, the way I got it now is kind of nice. I have a nice homey environment that's familiar on the screen, um, but I want to try and do something else, but I'm still trying to flesh it out. So I thought I'd give you all a heads up because I'm going to probably do maybe at least one of these Aspie episodes a week instead of, spontaneously coming on here and just step back and see what's going on. So I thank you for paying attention to the site, for visiting, and hope you have a good one.